Hey guys, this is Tim. Welcome to another FSF Popcast 5 at 5. So back when we were doing this on Pop Culture Addicts, Kathleen had done a comfort movies, her top 5 comfort movies. I did my top 5 comfort movies, and it was dubbed Man Flu movies. I still blame Kathleen. John may have had something to do with it, but mostly I blame Kathleen. So what I thought I would do today is take you through, they're not necessarily comfort TV shows, but they're the top 5 shows that I would binge watch or just watch at any time because I enjoy them. They're background shows, you know, they're things that I can have on the background. I don't have to pay close attention to them. I can walk away for an episode or two, come back and know exactly where the story is, what's going on, things along those lines. So these are my top 5 bingeable shows. Number 5 is the show MASH. Now this run from 1972 to 1983. It ran for 11 years. Coincidentally, the Korean War, which is what MASH is based about, was only 3 years long. So this show was 3 times longer than the Korean War, which was probably a good thing, that it was the show was longer. It's a fantastic show. It was so very well cast. It's one of those shows that I think when I was younger, I didn't really appreciate what was going on, the characters. I did not appreciate Alan Alda. And his comedic timing and all those things. I appreciate it now. And I think that Alan Alda is one of the finest actors that we've ever had. Frankly, he plays Hawkeye so very well. There's a couple of, other characters that kind of came in and out. People were replaced and new people came in. There was BJ Honeycutt and there was Trapper John McIntyre. And those two guys kind of worked, one worked and then the other one replaced. And let's see, there's Radar, there's a whole cast there of good characters, good storylines. And one of the things I've always appreciated about this is that even though for the sensitive topic that they were covering and the way that they looked at different things that happened during the Korean War era, and considering too that this was coming out right after the end of the Vietnam War, there was a lot of sensitivity towards soldiers and what they had been involved in and what they had done overseas and things along those lines. But I thought that they handled it really well, especially looking back on it now through a couple decades later and seeing really how they handled it. I think it was really well done. So number 5 is MASH. Number 4, The Big Bang Theory. This again is another show that I didn't jump into right away. The first couple times I watched it, I found it annoying. That's the only way I can put it. I found it annoying. But for whatever reason, I came back and I started watching. Now the show ran from 2007 to 2019. I think I kind of got interested in it probably about 2016 and went back and started rewatching from the very beginning. Now it's a show that I'll watch all the way through. I think I found it annoying because I found Sheldon Cooper annoying. But now I find Sheldon Cooper hysterical. And I really do appreciate the way that he's played and how Jim Parsons portrayed him and all the nuances that went into Sheldon's personality over the years. But again, here's another show, very tightly cast. Johnny Galecki as Leonard Hofstadter. You got Simon Helberg as Howard Wolowitz, who just, that poor boy. And then you've got Kunal Nair as Raj Koothrappali, Melissa Rauch as Bernadette Rostenkowski. There's all these other different characters that come in and out. And but it's a show that definitely grew on me. And I love the fact that it's a show about nerds, for nerds. It's just got some great one-liners and some great humor and looking at things in a very modern setting. So very good show, very enjoyable. And that show, like I said, ran from 2007 to 2019. So number 4 is The Big Bang Theory. Number 3, The Office. Now, The Office ran from 2005 to 2013. I'm almost surprised that it wasn't my number 1. I know why it's not my number 1, but I was, as much as I love this show, it still surprises me that it's not my number 1. Steve Carell as Michael Scott is comedy gold. The lines, the one-liners, the quips, all that he has all through this, his lack of depth and understanding is expertly played by Steve Carell. There are such iconic characters with Jim and Pam and Dwight, and you've got just a whole cast of characters in this show. Probably the reason why this is not number 1, if Michael Scott had stayed for the entirety of the series. I know why, Steve Carell had a lot of movies being thrown at him and everything, and they want to try different things, go off and do different things. He was only in 142 of the episodes. So the last 3 seasons really suffered without Michael Scott, without Steve Carell's character. Yeah, they brought in Ed Helms, and Ed Helms did a really good job. as Andy Bernard, taking over as the boss and doing all these things. But Ed Helms, as funny as he is not Steve Carell. And Andy Bernard, as entertaining as I found his character to be, was not Michael Scott. Nobody's Michael Scott. I don't even think Michael Scott's barely Michael Scott. But anyway, yeah, 2005 to 2013, and fantastic show. I watch it all the time. I think it's only available on Peacock right now for the entirety of the series. I think you might be able to catch snippets here and there, but the entirety of the series, I think you have to have a subscription to Peacock in order to be able to watch it. Number 2, Star Wars Clone Wars. Now, this had its original 6 seasons. They took a break for a few years. They come back. They released the 7th heartbreaking season. Seriously, if you're going to watch Star Wars Clone Wars all the way through and you get to season 7, watch the first couple episodes. I think it's like episodes 5 through 8, and then grab your box of Kleenex for the last couple episodes, because there will be some tears. An amazing show. If you're a Star Wars fan like I am, it is the perfect piece that helps you to understand all the nuances that couldn't be very well explained in episode 2, in episode 3 of the movies, and all the different tie-ins. And it really helps us as well to see Anakin's descent into Vader, all these things that are happening, and the way his personality plays out, and really how it takes such a massive dive starting in season 6 and then finishing off, of course, in season 7. Again, an amazing cast of actors, and this time we're talking about voice actors, of course. I love the fact that if you go to IMDb and you look up Star Wars Clone Wars and you look at the top cast for D. Bradley Baker, it just says Clone Troopers, because he is the voice of all the clones. James Arnold Taylor is Obi-Wan Kenobi. You got Matt Lanter as Anakin Skywalker, Ashley Eckstein as Ahsoka Tano, Corey Burton as Count Dooku, and of course Sam Witwer, who has been a guest on our show, as of course the amazing Darth Maul. But I also want to point out that Tom Kane, who had some medical issues after the conclusion of this series, and who has lost his ability to speak for the most part, did the job as the narrator, also voiced Yoda. It's a shame that we don't get to hear Tom's voice anymore, because Tom was an amazing voice actor who I personally would have loved to have just been able to sit down with for a couple minutes and talk to. But Tom, you were very well missed, and you did an amazing job as the narrator and Yoda for Star Wars Clone Wars. That's number 2. So number 1, The Big Enchilada. So if it's not The Office, if it's not Star Wars Clone Wars, what could it be? It's How I Met Your Mother. I absolutely adore this show. I have lost track of how many times I have watched this series. In all honesty, I started rewatching the series last night. Couldn't sleep, so I was up watching TV. So I was like, well, you know what? I'll put on How I Met Your Mother. So right back to season 1, episode 1, the pilot, starting it back over where everything started and everything went. We get to see the journey of Ted Mosby chasing Robin, but not chasing Robin to chase Robin again. There's couple goals in there with Marshall and Lily. Neil Patrick Harris deserves so many awards for the role he plays as Barney Stinson. He plays the most lovable jerk you've ever seen in your life. He plays a man who's a horrible womanizer, and he plays just so self-centered and so a little narcissistic about himself and everything else. He has the most amazing growth throughout this series. His storyline, his arc, his character arc is so well done. Seriously, Neil Patrick Harris deserves awards for the job he did as Barney Stinson. 208 episodes of How I Met Your Mother with Barney Stinson. In season 8 and 9, we get to see how Ted meets his wife, Tracy McConnell, created by Kristen Milotti. She's only in for 25 episodes, but we have to admit that it's really 9 seasons of Ted chasing Robin. And that's how the series ended, much to the chagrin of many fans, myself included. So those are my top 5 bingeable TV shows, things that I can watch over and over again. If you agree with me, let me know down in the comments. If you disagree with me, let me know down in the comments. If you have other shows that you think should have been here, come on, you know the drill by now. Let me know in the comments. And make sure that you click the like button and the subscribe button so you can get more great content from the FSF podcast. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time. Goodbye.